Hello guys and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to be addressing an issue that goes like this. Is the Western world destroying our values as Africans? Most especially as it regards women. And we're going to be talking about this right now. So earlier I asked, is the Western world destroying our values? By extension, the values of women values. I will start by saying this. When I was younger and growing up, when I was a little kid, there were certain things that for a woman to do were seen as a bit, was seen as a, I'm looking for the right word to use. They were seen as terrible. Let me use that term, terrible. And one of them is, for instance, when a woman gets pregnant, and by a man and is not married or the parents don't know you, or 9 times out of 10, back in the days, the woman does not even go back home. She runs away from her parents because she feels she feels like she has disappointed her parents and she has ruined her life. That is just the way it was when I was growing up. Or if, again, this is as it relates to females, to women rather, because she feels she has disappointed her parents and then she just has to leave. She doesn't even go back home when she realizes that she's pregnant or somebody has impregnated her. Another one is, when you see now it's a thing of pride for a lady to look up to another person, even another lady or even a man, and then insult that person to the face, call that person names, and do this and do that. A perfect example is a couple of days ago I was in the supermarket and I was trying to pay for my items which I was going to purchase. So there was this lady behind me, or she came while I was paying. An alright looking lady. So I just stood and focused on my business there, which was trying to pay for the items. So I think she was trying to say something to me. I couldn't get it because I wasn't really paying attention. I was actually paying attention to the guy who was the cashier who was requesting for my card. So the next thing I noticed was she bought a lot of items. So she just started moving my items away from the where it was. She started pushing them away and started putting her items. So I was like, I first looked at what she was doing for a minute and then I looked at the woman and I'm like, wow. So I reacted by, she had a whole box load of noodles stacked like this that she was. So I reacted and I asked her, I said, what are you doing? And she was like, she was talking to me, I didn't answer her. And I was like, the attitude alone got me upset because I had tried to reason with you by asking you what you were doing and then you were giving me an attitude again. And I'm this kind of person, I don't like people touching my stuff. I don't even like people, if I'm walking on the road and then someone puts his hands on me like this, I kind of take offense to it. I don't do it to people and I don't like people doing it to me. I think it's very wrong. You can't just put your hands on people. So the way she responded to the question I asked her just threw me off. So what I did was I turned to her and I said, how would you feel if somebody just walks up to you? And then I made a gesture and then I just tapped one of the boxes she had stacked up. I just tapped one of those boxes. I tapped it purposely so that it would fall on the floor. So I said, how would you feel if someone just, and then I tapped, and then the box just collapsed on the floor. Taps your box and then it falls like down on the floor. So she went and she was looking at it. You men, you just be leaving your house angry. You just been doing this. You just be doing this. And all the while I just kept quiet. And I said nothing. She was talking. This one is mad. And I'm like, the level of disrespect that a lot of these women have today When I was growing up, it was unheard of. All this lady needed to do was just say, oh, I'm sorry. I was asking you, but maybe you didn't hear what I said. I wanted to know if you were done or if this belonged to you. I'm sorry. That's all she needed to say. But instead, she came out with that masculine energy and I looked at it and I asked myself, I said, is this what the Western world has turned women into? It's literally turned women into masculine females. You know, women who behave like men. You know, women who want to be abusive, who want to go physical with men. I'm like, it's sad. You know, this is what it's turning into. And I'm like, wow. The sad thing about this whole thing is a lot of men. I was talking to someone the other day about this word called feminism. And I told the lady, I said, you see this feminism that you people are clamoring for? It's just like somebody who says they want freedom and you get absolute freedom. Freedom has a price. And that is what a lot of the Western women don't understand. And they're also influencing us in these parts. When you're a woman, we naturally as men view you respectfully as a softer, more, I want to use the right word, more, when you see somebody who's fragile, in a good way. Seeing a woman as fragile is not an insult. It just means she needs to be handled with care. That's how I see it. She just needs to be handled with absolute care. Meaning, you can't go physical on a woman. You can't do that. Is what I mean by fragile. But these people who have propagated this new way of thinking of females do not realize that they are turning them into males, giving them the mindset of talking, acting, reacting like men. And it's not going to be helpful. I asked this same lady, I said, this your feminism you're talking about, is it not about, okay, have equal opportunities, have equal, like if I'm going for a job interview, there's a man, there's a woman, let both of them have equal opportunities. That is what it should be about. Not necessarily equal outcomes, but what is happening now is the Western world is telling women that you can do what men are doing and you can do it better. But there's a downside to that. You cannot have privilege and lack without responsibility. And that is what us men have to deal with every day in our lives. We know we don't have privileges. We are not born with privileges. Our privileges only come from age, from when we acquire status, when we become wealthy, when we get to a point in life where we've acquired so much. That is where we get privilege. Most especially in this part of the world. This continent, this Africa. That's what happens. When you grow, when you have a lot of money, when you have wealth, that is when people respect you as a man. But a lot of these ladies don't understand that going in that direction of that they are going towards is going to make them lose that fragility that they have. Men have already accepted that fact that we don't get no privilege. Nobody is going to have sympathy on you as a man. If you fail, you will fail and you will deal with your failure by yourself. If you see two men fighting on the street, me as a man will not get involved. I will just stand back and watch until it's done. But if I see a man and a woman fighting, I would step in and say, oh, please, she's a woman. But they do not understand that if you lose that, it's going to be really terrible. The strength of a woman lies in her femininity. That's where her strength lies. A woman will control a man in her femininity. That is why when a man and a woman are having an argument, the moment the woman starts crying, that argument is over. It's over already. And what happens? The man starts begging. Because that's her using her femininity to her advantage. But imagine you're having an argument with a man and you are spitting verbal diarrhea, abusing the man, and if possible, take something and hit him. How do you win? You don't win. Because the way God has created you as a woman, God has given you emotions and that femininity to be your tool to use to, I don't want to use the wrong word, but that tool for you to use to hold your own as a woman. That's your tool, that's your strength. And God has given us men our own strength to be able to hold our own. So if you as a woman who has that strength, wonderful strength that has been given to you by God in your femininity to fight off any kind of issues, now wants to be using the masculine strength to fight, it becomes disjointed. And for us in these parts, it's not a good look for us to just embrace everything Western. And that is why I really respect the Arabs. When I was I was opportune to visit Dubai in 2019, and I noticed that their women cover their faces and cover everything, and they're walking around with their men. Then I'm like, okay. And then these are not poor people, these are very wealthy people. If you are able to even see the skin of some of these women, you will know that these ones they're not poor, they're very wealthy. And people would say they are not giving women freedom. But then who am I to judge another man's culture? Who am I? I'm not Arab. I cannot speak against their culture because I know nothing about their culture. It's just like being a Christian and then you want to judge traditional religion when you know nothing about it. I can't. But apparently it's working for them, because you would hardly see a typical Arab woman just becoming a baby mama. You hardly even see it, because they stick to their traditions so well. They stick to it well. You will hardly see an Arab woman do certain things, because their tradition is what they stick to. They are not going to imbibe everything that the West has to give. Yes, they could use Western civilization, Western cars, Western technology to their benefit. But when it comes to morals, when it comes to way of life, when it comes to ethics, oh no, they say, oh no, Western people, keep your way of life. We would hold on to ours. We are good the way we are. And I think that is where we as Africans need to go back to. But then again, some women come and then they talk about oppression and they talk about abuse and they talk about this and that and that. The question I want to ask is this. Is it better now? Is it so better now that you have all the freedom in the world than it was back then? If you put it on a scale, is it better now than it was back then? And I just hope that we as in these parts of the world realize that we don't take everything from the West. We take some and leave some. There's something that always sets us aside from the rest, and that's respect. You know, Africans hold their respect. But with the Western way of life, where you see kids calling their parents by their names, you see people getting pregnant like it's nothing. You know, it's freedom, but it comes at a cost. And I don't think it's worth it.